Alright, we're the Fiery Koalas. I'm Brian.
I'm Christian.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Jackson.
And we designed a projectile launcher. And so for our design, we had requirements. We had to fit in a 4-foot cube, and had to fire 30 feet with accuracy to hit a target, and had to use a 5-pound weight as the initial energy transfer, and then had to have 2 other energy transfers after that.
So initially we began by all brainstorming different ideas. We came up with various designs, but the one we ended up using came from using a nerf gun to shoot a nerf dart to 30 feet. We thought of this because the projectile had to be made out of foam, and this led us to thinking about nerf darts. And we figured that if we could take pieces from a nerf gun, it would be a simple way to accomplish the task by using a weight to pull back the nerf gun and then release it. So our first design used 2 pulleys. So the initial weight would drop, pulling the nerf gun back, then another weight would pull that weight back up through another pulley, releasing the tension and shooting the nerf dart. Here's our picture of that design.
So one of the biggest challenges that we faced with our project was the trigger system, and it didn't work because the 5-pound weight wasn't able to detach from the rope, and that was holding back the trigger on the nerf gun. And we also needed to eliminate tension when firing, and we had problems with the wood, so we had to brace pretty much the entire project. And then there was also the problem of fitting it in Brian's car.
So a couple of different things that we tried to get the trigger to release without tension was a string that the weight would land on and become taut, releasing the trigger. That didn't work. We also tried a platform that we would drop the weight onto, and when it hit an angled piece of wood connected to the base, it would fall off, which would get rid of the tension on the trigger so it could release on its own. That didn't work either. So as a last ditch sort of thing, the night before we attached a hook to the end of the nerf gun, and we put a PVC pipe in the middle of the project, and as the weight fell, the hook would hit the PVC pipe and release the trigger on its own, and that worked really well.
Okay, so right here is our nerf component that we removed from a nerf gun and modified it. And nerf dart goes in the front of the nerf gun, obviously. And the back, we have the loading arm that is attached to the hook, which is attached to nylon, down a pulley to the weight.
So when we lift the weight up and drop it, it pulls back on the nerf gun, and eventually this hook here hits this PVC pipe and detaches, launching the nerf dart.
We also have to brace the wood in many areas, and we also are able to change the angle by loosening this bolt and moving the platform the nerf gun's attached to up and down, changing the angle of firing. And the beautiful design that you see here was done by Miss Austin.
So the name of our group is the Fiery Koalas, and our theme is fire, so we painted it red, and then we put some flames on it for extra coolness.
Go. So on FEDD Day, we ended up placing 3rd, which was a bit of a disappointment for us because we thought that we could have at least made 2nd. We tested it 30 times before the day, and every single time it hit the target. But for some reason, when we were up, it fell short twice, and on the 3rd one, after some adjusting, it finally hit the 2nd outermost ring, which was good, but not as good as we'd hoped we could do.
So what we could have done differently, we probably would have finished the project earlier to reduce stress and everything, and we would have done more testing along the way just to make sure that it would have worked correctly when we actually had to get the project for the judges rather. And we probably would have gotten first place if we had it to do it over.
Some advice for next year's students. First of all, paint it red. Our design was a lot better because of our red paint job. It looks a lot nicer than it did before we painted it. And honestly, we were pretty close to 4th place. If not for our paint, we might have had 4th place. So you definitely want to take the time to decorate and make your thing look nice. Also, you want to keep your project as simple as you can. A simple design generally works better than the most complicated ones. I remember there were launchers there with like 8 pulleys in them, and most of them went about 2 feet if they worked at all. Ours was a pretty simple design with the nerf components, and it did quite well. Finally, you need to work on it every weekend leading up to it so that you don't have to cram at the end. A lot of groups were trying to finish up the night before, and we finished up that evening, so it wasn't too bad, but you definitely want to manage your time well leading up to the competition.
And be a team player. It's a group effort. You have other teammates to work on it together, so communicate. And be open to new ideas. Everyone has some good and some bad ideas, but you never know. It might work out. And play to everyone's strengths. Each person will have something they're very good at, something they're not good at. And try to figure that out, because I was able to build it, Austin was able to paint it, Jackson was able to help us communicate, and Christian came up with the great idea of using a Nerf gun. So everyone has their own strengths, and be open to all the ideas.
We're the Fiery Koalas.
And good luck to all you future students.
Fire in the hole.